Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Jodo Jake. Welcome back to the channel. For those that celebrated Thanksgiving this past week, I hope you had a great one with your friends and family. And I hope you all took advantage of those great Black Friday deals. I definitely did. I'll get into that at the end of the video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Pokémon Center Elite Trainer Boxes and why I collect them. We're going to talk about the pros and the cons. So let's just jump right into it. So I began collecting Pokémon Center Elite Trainer Boxes back when they started, and that was in the Sword and Shield era. So in the summer of 2021, when Pokemon released the Chilling Reign set, Pokémon Center introduced the Pokémon Center Elite Trainer Boxes. And these new Elite Trainer Boxes had a new design to distinguish them from the regular ETB, and they came with additional packs. Now, the problem was, I guess the news wasn't spread with the factory when they were making these. There was an error where you would actually get the same amount of packs in a regular ETB and not those additional packs. So the Pokemon Company sort of dropped the ball with this new product release. They were supposed to have 10 packs in these Elite Trainer boxes, but only had 8 like any other regular ETB. So the Pokemon Company had to compensate any customer that bought these ETBs from the Pokemon Center site. So what they did is they created this pretty cool 2-pack blister for Chilling Reign, and it came with 3 Galarian bird promos, 1 for each bird. And it's pretty cool to see something like this. You don't see a lot of airs made by the Pokemon Company and then they compensate customers with it. So this is a pretty unique product that I would probably consider picking up if you don't have them. So after the fiasco with the Chilling Reign Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes, the Pokemon Company learned their lesson and they made sure that with each and every set going forward, that the Pokemon Center ETBs would have the correct amount of packs. So the next set up in this roster was Evolving Skies. So when Evolving Skies came out, Evolving Skies had 2 Pokemon Center ETBs with different arts. One had Glaceon, Vaporeon, Sylveon, and Espeon, and the other had Flareon, Jolteon, Umbreon, and Leafeon. This is actually the only Sword and Shield Pokemon Center ETB that has 2 box arts. Now, we received 2 box arts for battle styles, but they didn't have the Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box. They only had the regular ones that you would see in Targets, Walmarts, and other brick and mortars. These are kind of special, obviously, for that reason, but they go beyond that. Evolving Skies is rocketing. I actually did not pre-order these when these went up. I don't know why. I had a similar situation with the Pokemon Center 151 ETB. I didn't pre-order those. So I bought these on the secondary market and I think I paid around $125 per box. Based off where they're at now, I'm doing pretty well. I'll never sell these. I wish I had more, but it is what it is. They're going for around $400 a piece based on TCG player sales, which is absolutely insane. So after Evolving Skies, every set forward only had 1 box art for Pokemon Center ETBs, which is great for collectors because having to buy 2 different ETBs for different box arts could be a pain in the ass. So Fusion Strike, Brilliant Stars, Astral Radiance, Pokemon Go, Lost Origin, Silver Tempest, Crown Zenith, they all only had 1 Pokemon Center ETB art. So for the holiday sets like Pokemon Go and Crown Zenith, the Pokemon Center ETBs actually had different dimensions. So they wouldn't fit in like regular ETB acrylic or like those Target cereal containers people are using to preserve their Elite Trainer boxes. They actually were wider and a little taller. And if I remember correctly, they weren't even called Pokemon Center ETBs. They were called Elite Trainer Box Pluses. I have to check after recording this. I'll put them up here. I might be wrong. But yeah, I'll just throw them right here. So when it comes down to it, there's like 3 pros to collecting the Sword and Shield Pokemon Center ETBs. And it comes down to the unique design for their box arts, the additional packs, and then the fact that you can only get these through the Pokemon Center site. It should be known that the Pokemon Center sites are not available to everyone. They're only available in, I believe, 6 different countries: the US, Canada, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. So if you don't live in any of those countries, you're not able to purchase from the Pokemon Center site unless you can find someone that you know in those countries that can order them for you and ship to your house, which is kind of a pain. So to me, those are the main pros as to why I collect the Sword and Shield era Pokemon Center ETBs. I wish I had more. I only have 1 for each and every set in the Sword and Shield era, unless it's Evolving Skies, I have the pair. Now, when Scarlet and Violet was introduced, things changed. So right around the time when the Sword and Shield era was coming to an end, the Pokemon Company had announced that all MSRP would be increasing going into the Scarlet and Violet era. Now, this was kind of scary. The Pokemon Company knew that they had to be creative and come up with new ideas in order to keep people engaged in the hobby buying their products. And that is exactly what they did with the Scarlet and Violet Pokemon Center ETBs. So when the Scarlet and Violet era kicked off with Scarlet and Violet Base, it featured the 2 legendary mascots of the era, which are Miraidon and Koraidon. So it only made sense for the Elite Trainer boxes to reflect that. So we had an Elite Trainer box for Miraidon, and we had an Elite Trainer box for Koraidon. Now, these new Scarlet and Violet era ETBs came with an additional pack. So the regular ETBs in Sword and Shield had 8 packs, and the regular ETBs in Scarlet and Violet went to 9. So this is a big incentivizer off the rip. Now you get more packs per ETB, more chances to pull that chase card, and that's great, but you don't always pull that chase card in an ETB. More often than not, you don't. There's one big pro that I haven't mentioned yet, and that is the biggest pro of Elite Trainer boxes in the Scarlet and Violet era, and that is the promo. In the Scarlet and Violet era, every ETB came with a unique illustration rare promo. For Scarlet and Violet base, it actually featured Miraidon for the Miraidon ETB and Koraidon for the Koraidon ETB. Now these were really cool, unique illustrations of these Pokemon that were more storytelling than anything. They weren't your generic full art. These were unique illustrations. They really incentivized customers to keep buying this product. Now those two added benefits to regular ETBs in the Scarlet and Violet era are already major. You're guaranteed to get a really cool promo in every single ETB, and you get additional packs, which is what people want in the long run. So what did they do with the Pokemon Center ETB? They amplified both of those benefits. So you go from having 9 packs in a regular ETB to 11 packs in the Pokemon Center ETB. That's one additional pack more than what you would get in the Sword and Shield Pokemon Center ETBs. Now, this last one is honestly the biggest pro of them all, and what has kept me collecting these Pokemon Center ETBs. And that is the dual promo advantage. And all that really means is that there's 2 promos in your Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box featuring one art. But there's a catch. One of those promos is just like any other that you would receive in any other Elite Trainer box. The second one is a little bit more unique. It's kind of a big deal. It is the Pokemon Center stamped promo. Now, if you put these cards side by side, you would see that they look identical. But in that bottom right corner, you see the Pokemon Center stamp. Now you can only get these promos through the Pokemon Center site, which makes them pretty limited, and a lot of collectors see them as the first edition of the modern era. So if you're not familiar with the first edition stamp, that takes us back all the way to the beginning of the Pokemon TCG with base set. Now when base set was first introduced, they had a limited print run that included a first edition logo stamp on the middle left of the card. Now this was a way for collectors to know the difference between that initial first print run and any print run after. Base set actually had 4 different versions: first edition, shadowless, unlimited, and 4th print UK. And I can get into that in an entirely new video, or maybe even a short if you guys want to see that. First edition stamps went through most of the Wizards of the Coast era, and the Wizards of the Coast era ended with the e-reader sets, which did not include first edition stamp in English. So with all that being said, these new Pokemon Center logos on these promos are kind of treated as these first initial print runs, because like I said, you could only get these Pokemon Center ETB promos through the Pokemon Center site buying the Pokemon Center ETB. Once they're gone, they might have a wave or 2 after, but it's unknown as to when or if they'll actually reprint these and restock these on the site. So I always try to pre-order these any chance I get. I definitely took advantage of that with Prismatic Evolutions. If you saw one of my last videos, I pre-ordered 3 cases of that before they changed the limit to 2. So I'm really excited about that promo because I think it's going to perform really well as a collector in the long run. Now you can shame me in the comments if you want to, but I've actually opened a few of these Pokemon Center ETBs, at least some of my extras, just so that I can add those Pokemon Center ETB promos to my binder. And if you haven't seen it already, I just put out a video of my entire trainer gallery, Galar gallery, illustration rare binder, and I'll link that right here. Now, since we're on the topic of Stellar Crown Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes were actually the first to change the way that they package these promos inside the Elite Trainer box. If you look at each and every other Elite Trainer box throughout the Scarlet and Violet era, these promos were just inserted inside cellophane and then thrown into the ETB. This would kind of make it so these promos could get damaged really easily. Like just by packaging them and shipping them out, you're most likely gonna get like a damaged promo. And what Stellar Crown did was they made sure to include these promos inside cellophane and support them with the deck dividers that you get in your Elite Trainer box. So this helps reduce some of that plastic. So go Pokemon Company for being a little more environmental, which isn't saying much because the amount of packaging and plastic and air that they put in these packages is just insane. But that's an entirely different topic. We won't go into that. But that's just something to note, is that some of these ETB promos are probably gonna be harder to grade, especially those early Scarlet and Violet era ones. Now, when Scarlet and Violet era kicked off, these Pokemon Center ETBs were not nearly as popular as they are now. Now, I was collecting them, but I was only collecting or ordering one of each, right? So I would have one Pokemon Center ETB per set. depending on whether that set had maybe 1 art or 2 arts. So if Scarlet Violet had 2, I had 2 for each box art. If I can go back, I would have ordered a case of each. That's kind of expensive. That's not kind of expensive, that is really expensive. Because like I said, if this set had 2 different box arts, that's $500. A case of Pokemon Center ETBs is like $256, $260. And that adds up fast every 2 to 3 months with each and every release. I wanted to be careful about which ones I did this with, which sets I wanted to get a case of. So I actually got a case of 151, and I didn't actually get 151 on pre-order. I actually caught a restock after the set released. So yes, these Pokemon Center ETBs do have restocks, do have reprints, whatever you want to call it. But if you're patient, it will pay off. Now I have 6 Pokemon Center ETBs of 151. I have a sealed case of 4 and then 2 loose ones, including this one here. I absolutely love this ETB art. The Snorlax is just great. Yeah, I just want to be careful about the sets that I select in terms of spending that much money on a case of Pokemon Center ETBs. And I've only done it twice. I've done it with 151 and I did it with Surging Sparks. Before Surging Sparks was really getting too much hype, I knew I needed to pre-order a few cases of this, and I sold off 2 of them. I kept 1 for myself, and I sold off a loose ETB and kept 1 for myself that I can display at some future point. What I'm saying with all this is, like, yes, I collect them, but you have to be careful because you don't want to overspend on these. And I do see these doing really well in the long run, but that's a lot of money to be putting into these Pokemon Center ETBs. There's other things that we're collecting in this hobby. I just want to make sure people are careful about how much they're spending on these ETBs. That being said, I pre-ordered a ton of Prismatic Evolutions Pokemon Center ETBs before that limit change. And if you saw my older video, I had mentioned that I had got 3 cases, which is insane. So I'm excited about that. I don't know if I'll sell them. I don't know if that limit change is gonna go back to 4. If it doesn't, those sealed cases of Prismatic Evolutions are going to be worth a pretty penny in the long run because they're a lot more limited than any other case of Pokemon Center ETBs in the past. And it comes with like an insane promo. That EV promo is just like, ooh, I'm scared of where that card's going to end up in comparison to like the Snorlax from 151 or the Charmander from Obsidian Flames. I know I mentioned be careful about buying a lot of this. That kind of leads me into the cons of collecting or investing in these Pokemon Center ETBs. We don't all have unlimited space. The first big con is the lack of compact value. Now that means these ETBs are large. There's only 11 packs. A case is 44 packs total, right? It takes up a lot of space versus buying maybe a booster box case or just maybe 2 booster boxes, which have really compact value because you get 36 packs in this really super efficient compact box that you can store multiple of in a smaller space. So there's one con, right? Now the second con that I want to mention is this term that I came up with called the scarcity barrier. And that just means that this Pokemon Center ETB product is only available one way, and that is through the Pokemon Center site. Now, that's kind of like a double-edged sword, right? Because I had just mentioned that this is one of the pros of collecting the Pokemon Center ETBs. It's an exclusive product, only available in an exclusive way. Now, you can't get these Pokemon Center ETBs through traditional distribution or brick and mortar stores like Target, Walmart, Best Buy, GameStop. None of that. You can only get these through the Pokemon Center site unless you buy them on the secondary market at a higher price, which leads me to this big problem of bots. Bots can eat up inventory on the Pokemon Center site so fast, like milliseconds. I saw it during the pandemic with all of the Sword and Shield sets, and we are starting to see some of that in the Scarlet Violet era with Surging Sparks and Prismatic Evolutions. Where my caution is, like, if you want to collect these, be patient. Don't buy these on the secondary market, especially when they've just been released. I don't know if these sets will get restocked or reprinted. 151 did. I was surprised by that. I got lucky with that. But we haven't seen it with Scarlet Violet Base, Paldea Evolved, Obsidian Flames, Paradox. Like, most of the Pokemon Center ETBs are sold out on the Pokemon Center site. I literally had a case of Stellar Crown Pokemon Center ETBs in my cart the night it actually went out of stock, which I found to be really funny and ironic because I saw it coming. Twilight Masquerade had gone out too. I had a case of that and I didn't order because it's just a lot of money. I wanted to be more selective, and I'm glad that I did because over this past weekend, I bought a case of Scarlet and Violet booster boxes, a case of Paldea Evolved booster boxes, and a case of Obsidian Flames booster boxes. I'm averaging roughly around $100 per box. Paldea Evolved was obviously the most expensive of those 3, But overall, I'm happy with that. It's more condensed, like I mentioned, and it's just something that you should consider. You don't have to own everything. Pokemon's gotta catch 'em all slogan is a scam. There's no way to realistically own and collect all of this stuff, and you have to be okay with that. In a recent live on Henry's Poke Corner channel, I talk a little bit about that whole idea, and I want to make a video on that soon. I'm done with the cons, I'm done being negative. But no, in all seriousness, I tend to do this where I talk about both the good and the bad, the pros and the cons, and I don't want to give you just one side of the coin when I'm talking about whatever it is I'm talking about in my videos. I want to give you perspective. I want to make you think about things you may have not considered. If you're a new collector or if you're just getting into sealed product, you should be mindful of all aspects of going into this. I'm going to continue to do that with all of my videos. So, deal with it or don't. I'm sorry. But Pokemon Center ETBs are some of my favorite products. The stamp promos are genius. The Pokemon Company knows what they're doing. I can't wait to see what the next era has for these Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes. We're coming towards the last few sets of Scarlet and Violet, and Gen 10 is gonna have some heat product. If you've been considering collecting or investing in these Pokemon Center ETBs, I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments, what's your favorite Pokemon Center ETB and your favorite promo from these ETBs? I'd honestly have to say that the 151 is my favorite ETB, and it probably has my favorite promo too. I know, I'm just a boomer. I'm just a Gen 1er. What can I say? I'm a fraud. My name's Johto Jake, and I should be called Kanto Jake at this point. Anyways, y'all, until next time, happy collecting. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.